Hey guys, what's up? My name is Eric and I'm the Techy Agent, and I have been on the quest to find the best GPS watch under the $100 price point. Now, the company that sent this to me said that this watch competes with a Garmin device like a Garmin Forerunner or even a Garmin Fenix 5 watch in terms of its GPS and sports-related functionality. And oh yeah, it's less than $100. Okay, so this is the number one F5 smartwatch. This is basically a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Garmin Forerunner or Fenix 5 device, and it brags all of the same features. It has a built-in altimeter, barometer, thermometer, and GPS. Now, this is not going to compete with the Garmin in terms of the more advanced features, so this does not have a VO2 max reading. It will not give you a heart rate variability reading, but this does have some basic GPS and outdoor features that make it potentially a decent competitor against a much more expensive Garmin device. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the build quality. I was actually pleasantly surprised on the build quality of this. It is a mostly plastic construction, but for that matter, most of the Forerunner devices that are out there on the market are also completely plastic design. This has a Corning glass display, not a Gorilla Glass display, so the glass will be more prone to scratching on this than you would get from a Garmin device. The watch comes with standard watch straps, and they are able to be removed or put back on using kind of a quick pin design, and you can obviously replace these straps with any sort of third-party standard watch straps. Now, in the advertising, they say that this can last up to 3 weeks on one charge, and honestly, it is performing very well. In terms of battery life, I've been wearing this now for about a week, and I still have more than 2/3 of my battery life left on the watch. Now, in terms of design and use, probably my biggest complaint is going to be the watch face. This is the only watch face that will come with this watch. It does have a lot of helpful information on the screen, but I just think it looks cluttered and ugly compared to, the customization that you can get on a lot of other more expensive GPS watches. The resolution of the watch is also terrible. It has a very grainy look to it, and the refresh rate is so slow on this watch that when I took pictures of it or video of it with my camera, you can see kind of a flickering going on the screen. Now, that's not really something you can see with your naked eye, but the refresh rate is so slow that it just kind of shows that this display is overall a low quality display. Now, this comes with 2 physical buttons on the side and an invisible capacitive button that is right on the Sport logo. So the Sport logo, as you tap that, you'll scroll through the various menus and options, and then if you want to dive in deeper to one of those options, you can hit the red button to enter in, and then you can hit the Sport button again to scroll through additional menus. If you want to back out, there is the lower button that you can click, and that's kind of the return to home or return button that will back out of the menu. So actually, that user interface between those 2 buttons and then the capacitive button on the screen, I actually really liked that layout. It seemed to really work well, and I was able to navigate through all of the menus in a very intuitive way. Now, in terms of the sports profiles that they're offering up, you're not going to get much. You're only going to get what's on the watch, which includes walking, running, hiking, cycling, treadmill, basketball, tennis, and soccer, and that's it. Those are the only sports profiles that this comes built in with, and you can't add any additional sports profiles or have any other sort of custom profiles that you add to it through the app. Now, similar to Garmin devices, this does come with a built-in thermometer. Now, you'll want to leave the watch off of your wrist while you're taking a reading because the thermometer will be impacted by your body heat, but that is an option that's built on here, and it seemed to work, and it'll even show you over the last several hours if the temperature is rising or falling, so that's kind of a neat feature. You'll also have a barometric altimeter on here, and that will show you, barometric pressures, and then you'll also have the barometric altimeter will also give you altitude information, which you can see here as well. So yeah, you get the barometer, you get the altimeter, you get the temperature, and you get all of those things through like little built-in applications on the watch. And there's not really any way you can customize any of that, but they seem to work and they work well. And so I was very pleased to see that they've added these sensors and that they all seemed to work. Now, there is a built-in optical heart rate sensor on the back, and we're going to get to the accuracy of that here in a moment because I did put this through several different workouts. So in my opinion, with the exception of the poor display quality, the overall design and user interface of this watch is top-notch, and I was really impressed with the build quality of the watch, especially at this price point. We're coming in well under $100 here on this watch, so, you know, with them offering all of those sensors and this quality of a design on a watch, I was very impressed. Now, in terms of advanced GPS features for outdoor hiking and such, I would not recommend this watch. But in terms of it just being a GPS watch for tracking your cycling, your jogging, and maybe even tracking gym-based exercise, I wanted to test out the GPS and the built-in optical heart rate sensor and let you guys know if they were any good. Now, the first thing I always like to do with a fitness tracker is put it through a gym-based strength training exercise, because built-in optical heart rate sensors generally have a really hard time tracking this kind of exercise. And so an optical heart rate sensor that can keep up with this kind of exercise typically is a really good sensor. So actually, I was kind of surprised at how well this did for strength training exercise. So there was some lag. So immediately after doing a lift, as you can see here, it's beginning to show my increasing heart rate after the lift, which means there's a latency here. It's taking it a little bit of time to catch up to what my heart rate actually is. But, you know, that's true of most optical heart rate sensors. I was impressed that this was able to track my heart rate to begin with. And in all honesty, it was competing against my Apple Watch, and it was showing the exact same numbers as my Apple Watch, which obviously is a much more expensive sensor. And so I was very impressed to see that this optical heart rate sensor was able to compete at all against something like the Apple Watch. The second kind of exercise that I wanted to put this through was a boot camp high-intensity interval training styled exercise. And again, optical heart rate sensors typically don't do well in this kind of environment, but again, I was modestly impressed with the way that this was able to quickly after the exercise be able to catch up and detect my heart rate information accurately. And as a matter of fact, as you'll see here on screen, I was able to, you know, capture that information on my F5 watch, and my Apple Watch was actually flaking out on me a little bit and showing me some erratic numbers. It would go really high, such as you'll see here on screen. It was showing 194 beats, and then it immediately drops down to about 160 beats per minute. So I was getting some inconsistencies with the Apple Watch that I actually wasn't getting on the F5 watch. The F5 was actually a little bit more reliable in terms of tracking my heart rate for this kind of exercise. So the built-in optical heart rate sensor on this is actually fairly decent and accurate. Unfortunately, this device will not pair with any sort of external heart rate sensors. That being said, again, the built-in sensor is not bad. So my next task was to test out the GPS and see whether or not it was good. Okay, so everything you've seen recorded up to this point in the video was done several days ago, and I've been trying to get the GPS to work in the meantime, and I've been unable to get the GPS to work. I've been trying every day to try to get the GPS on this thing to work, and it just hasn't worked until today. I finally got it to work. I took the watch to a kind of an area where there weren't any buildings or obstructions or anything around, and I turned it on, and about 5 minutes later, it finally started to work. That being said, the GPS on this just has been super inconsistent. And so even though I got the GPS to work today, after turning it on for about 5 minutes, all of the data that it came back with on the app was complete garbage. So the lesson that I've learned with this is that, you know, just because it looks promising doesn't always mean that it is. And so kind of disappointed in the end with this, because that was the main thing that I really was hoping to get out of this, was a cheap GPS watch that could really compete with a Garmin Forerunner or even Fenix 5 wearable. And, you know, obviously at this price point, it's just not reliable. It's not going to compete. Now, that being said, there is a GPS watch that I recently reviewed that is less than $100 that I can recommend for simple, you know, cardio GPS exercises like jogging and cycling and hiking. So I'm going to put a link on the screen now so you can go check out that video if you are in the market for a GPS watch that rings in under the $100 price point. Unfortunately, this is not one that I can recommend, and so, yeah. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed. And if you have any comments, leave those below and I'll get to those as soon as possible. Again, thanks for watching. My name is Eric and I'm the Techy Agent. We'll catch you next time.